Dr. Zelda Okia. I am a life and weight loss coach. I wanted to share a poem that I wrote in February of this year, and it was somewhat inspired, I guess, if you have to use that word, by the homicides that had occurred in the month of February. We had quite a few homicides kind of consecutively, and it was a very emotional time for the community. And I was sitting one night on my couch, and black burnout. I'd been preparing for a presentation, and black burnout really came to mind. And unfortunately, the majority of the homicides are in the African American community. And I was looking at black burnout from the perspective of racial health disparities. And in light of the coronavirus, the majority of deaths in Milwaukee have also affected African Americans, which does relate back to the healthcare disparities. So this Saturday, April the 11th, I'm giving a presentation. It's a webinar. Originally, it was going to be an online event. I know this is backwards, sorry. But the title was How to Survive and Thrive in the Age of Black Burnout. And I was a medical examiner prior to my transition now to a life coach. And I was inspired to write this poem because of the violence, and I do reference performing autopsies on males, and this was from I spent a year in Milwaukee autopsying many black males, unfortunately, due to gun violence. And so that's the context, another context of this poem. So I didn't want my webinar won't be doom and gloom. At the end of the webinar, I really want to encourage a discussion about scenario planning in the aftermath of this corona crisis. This corona crisis will eventually end, and I really want this to also lead to a discussion about what we as individuals. The past two videos I talked about really focusing on the fundamentals and then mastering the fundamentals. And then to take this another step further, what will you do? How will we prepare ourselves as individuals and influencing our children, our neighbors? What can we do, or how are we going to prepare ourselves for the aftermath of the coronavirus? So I want people to come actually excited for the future and to look forward to what they can do to really make an impact at this time when it is so necessary. So here's my poem, Black Burnout, Creating the Whole by Piecing Up the Parts. I've stood on the sidelines too long, watching my people oppressed by the throng of haters. Violence, violence, too powerful, too strong. Young black males autopsied on my table too long. When is it gonna stop? Mama cries too often. Gunfire, shot shells, another nail in the coffin. The time to fight is now. The time to fight was yesterday. Black burnout, black burnout. Is there not a reason? Is there not a cause? Now is not the time for sleeping, nor is there space to pause. Stop the violence, break death of his claws. Who will stand with me, help me sing my song? I've stood on the sidelines too long, cutting up dead bodies in the throng. I've taken off my gloves and gowns, taking off my mask. Who will stand with me? Help me complete the task. Something must be done. Something with us starts. Create the whole by piecing up the parts. So this is in reference to Black burnout. The title of my webinar is Surviving and Thriving in the Age of Black Burnout. And now I can take this further, surviving and thriving in preparation for the aftermath of Corona crisis. So this will be April 11th at 10 a.m. and it will be an online Zoom webinar. I will put a link to the Zoom webinar, so please, if you're able, make time, come join me, and let's have a discussion and prepare ourselves for the future. Thank you for watching, and take good care of yourself. Bye-bye.